Mooregan, and featuring a full cast. This adaptation is for fun and fandom only, not for profit. The Empyrean series and its characters belong to the brilliant Rebecca Yarros. Welcome to the Fourth Wing.
Chapter 10. Don't underestimate the challenge of the Gauntlet, Mira. It's designed to test your balance, strength, and agility. The times don't matter for shit, only that you make it to the top. Reach for the ropes when you have to. Coming in last is better than coming in dead. Page 46, The Book of Brennan.
I look up, and up, and up, and up, and up.
Well, that's...
Rhiannon's head is tilted just as far back as mine as we stare at the menacing obstacle course that's been carved into the front of a ridgeline so steep, it might as well be a cliff. The zigzagging death trap of a trail rises above us, climbing in 5 distinct switchbacks of 180-degree turns, each increasing in difficulty on the way up to the top. And at the top is the flight field.
That's...
Amazing!
Says Aurelie. Rhiannon and I turn, both staring at her like she must have hit her head.
You think that hellscape looks amazing?
I've been waiting years for this.
Aurelie grins, her normally serious black eyes dancing in the morning sun as she rubs her hands together, shifting from one toned leg to the other in glee.
My dad, he was a rider until he retired last year. He used to set up obstacle courses like this all the time so we can practice. And Chase, my brother, said it's the best part of being here before Threshing. It's a real adrenaline rush.
It looks more like a death trap than an adrenaline rush, but sure, we can go with that.
He said to watch out for those giant posts jutting from the side of the cliff.
She points about 2/3 of the way up the course.
They spin, and you can get crushed between them if you're not fast enough.
Oh, good. I was wondering when it might get difficult.
Thanks, Aurelie. This obstacle course is the embodiment of my worst nightmare. For the first time since Dain begged me to leave last week, I actually consider Markham's offer. There aren't any death courses in the Scribe Quadrant, that's for certain, but I've already made it this far. Oh, there she is. The little voice in my head that's been daring to give me hope that I might actually survive presentation.
Still not sure why they call it the Gauntlet.
Ridoc says from my right, blowing into his cupped hands to ward off the morning chill.
Because it weeds out the weak.
Tynan sneers from Ridoc's other side, folding his arms over his chest as he casts a pointed look at me. I shoot him a glare, then shake it off. He's been pissy ever since Rhiannon handed his ass to him on the mat at assessment.
Knock it the fuck off.
Ridoc threatens.
What's your problem?
My problem? You think because you made friends with Barlow and Seifert that you have the right to be a dick to your own squad mate?
It's pronounced Seifert. And exactly, squad mate.
Tynan gestures toward the obstacle course.
Our times aren't just ranked individually, Ridoc. We're scored as a squad, too. Do you really think any dragon wants to bond a cadet who walks in after every other squad in the processional?
They're not timing us for presentation today, asshole.
Ridoc takes a step forward.
Stop.
Sawyer steps between them.
Take it from someone who made it through presentation last year. Your time doesn't mean anything. The last cadet to walk in last year bonded just fine, and some of the cadets in the first squad onto the field were passed over.
A little bitter about that, aren't you?
Hey, you two done arguing?
Professor Emetterio enters the conversation.
Because all 9 of you have exactly 1 hour to get to the top before it's another squad's chance to practice. And from what I've seen of your agility on the mat, you're gonna need every second.
There's a grumbled assent amongst our group.
That's fair.
Sawyer, you're gonna show them how it's done since you already have the lay of the land. Then Pryor, Trina, Tynan, Rhiannon, Ridoc, Violet, Aurelie, and Luca.
He reads off every name in our squad, and then his eyebrows lift in pleasant surprise.
You're the only squad to remain intact since Parapet. Incredible. Your squad leader must be so proud. Wait here a second.
Emetterio steps away, waving to someone high up on the cliff.
Aetos is especially proud of you, Sorrengail.
Tynan sneers as soon as our instructor is out of hearing range.
Tynan.
Look, if you want to talk shit about me, that's fine, but leave Dain out of it.
Like it doesn't bother any of you that our squad leader is fucking one of us?
I'm not. But you know what? It's none of your goddamn business who I'm sleeping with, Tynan.
It is if it means you get preferential treatment.
That bitch Luca weighs in.
For fuck's sake. Luca? Tynan? Shut up. They are not sleeping together. They've been friends since they were kids. Or do you not know enough about your own leadership to know his dad is her mom's aide?
Really?
Really?
Dumbasses.
Shit. I'm sorry. Barlow said...
And that's your first mistake. Listening to that sadistic ass is gonna get you killed. You're lucky Aetos isn't here.
That's true. Dain would not like that assumption, and would probably put Tynan on cleanup duty for the rest of the month. Xaden would probably just beat the shit out of him. I blink and shove every thought of Xaden Ryerson far out of my head.
Okay, here we go.
Professor Emetterio walks to the head of our line.
You'll get your time at the top of the course, if you make it. But remember, you'll still have 9 practice sessions before we rank you for presentation in 2.5 weeks.
Wouldn't it make more sense to let first years start practicing this thing right after Parapet?
Rhiannon asks.
You know, to give us a little more time so we don't die.
No, the timing is part of the challenge. Any words of wisdom, Sawyer?
Sawyer's gaze follows the treacherous course.
There are ropes every 6 feet that run from the top of the sheer cliffside to the bottom. So if you start to fall, reach out and grab a rope. It'll cost you 30 seconds, but death costs you more.
Professor Emetterio lifts his hands toward the course and flicks his wrist. The 15-foot log at the start of the uphill climb begins to spin. The pillars on the third ascent shake. The giant wheel at the first switchback starts its counterclockwise rotation. And oh, those little posts Aurelie mentioned? They all twist in opposite directions.
Every one of the 5 ascents on this course is designed to mimic the challenges you'll face in battle. Yay.
He points to each obstacle.
From the balance you must keep on the back of your dragon, to the strength you'll need to hold your seat during maneuvers.
He gestures upward toward the last obstacle that looks like a 90-degree ramp from this angle.
To the stamina you'll need to fight on the ground and then still be able to mount your dragon at a second's notice.
The posts knock a chunk of granite loose, and the rock tumbles down the course, smacking every obstacle in its path until it crashes 20 feet in front of us. If there was ever a metaphor for my life, well, that's it.
Whoa.
Trina whispers, her brown eyes wide as she stares at the pulverized rock. I'm the smallest of our squad, but Trina is the quietest, the most reserved. I can't tell if she's sus or not.
But what if we can't make it up?
Luca asks from my right, her usual haughtiness nowhere to be found now.
I mean, what's the alternative route?
There's no alternative. Take your position, Sawyer.
Emetterio orders, and Sawyer moves to the beginning of the course.
All right, after he makes it past the final obstacle, just so everyone can learn from him as he completes the course, the rest of you will start every 60 seconds. And go.
Sawyer is off like a shot. He easily runs the 15 feet across the single log spinning parallel with the cliff face, and then the raised pillars. It takes him 3 rotations inside the wheel before he jumps through the lone opening, but other than that, I don't see a single misstep in the first ascent. Not one. He turns and rushes toward a series of giant hanging balls that makes up the second ascent, jumping and hugging one after another. his feet back on the ground, he turns again and heads up the third ascent. The first part has giant metal rods hanging parallel to the cliff wall, and he easily swings arm over arm, using his body's weight and momentum to swing the bar forward and reach the next bar hanging a half-foot higher. From the last bar, he jumps onto a series of shaking pillars that make up the second half of this ascent, before finally leaping back onto the gravel path. By the time he reaches the fourth ascent, the spinning logs Aurelie's brother warned us about, Sawyer's made it all look like child's play. And I start to feel a bubble of hope. Maybe the course isn't as difficult as it looks from the ground. But then he approaches a giant chimney formation tilted upwards at a 20-degree angle and pauses. But not for long. He sprints toward the leaning chimney and flings himself upward, grabbing onto the sides by forming an X with his body, then starts hopping up the conduit until he reaches the end and drops down in front of the final obstacle, the massive ramp that reaches up to the top of the cliff's edge at a nearly vertical climb. Sawyer sprints toward the ramp, using his speed and momentum to carry him 2/3 of the way up, and just before he starts to fall, he grasps the lip of the ramp and hauls himself over the edge.
Wow,
Yes!
perfect technique.
Yes!
Badass.
He made it, in an almost flawless approach.
Perfect technique. That's exactly what you should all be doing.
Perfect. And yet he was still passed over at Threshing. Guess the dragons have some sense of taste.
Give it a rest, Luca.
How could someone as smart and athletic as Sawyer not bond? And if he didn't, what the hell kind of hope is there for the rest of us? Pryor struggles on the swinging steel rods in the third ascent, due to some rather predictable hesitation on his part. But he makes it, just as Trina nearly falls at the shaking pillars, reaching for a rope.
Tynan, start. Rhiannon, start.
Wish me luck.
I try to keep my heartbeat under control as Rhiannon starts up the gauntlet. She passes the first ascent with the grace I've come to expect from her, before coming to a halt. Tynan hangs from the second of 5 buoy balls on the second ascent, right where the ground drops out. If he falls, he's got a minuscule chance of hitting the single spinning log from the first ascent, but overwhelming odds of dropping 30 feet to the ground below. You have to keep moving, Tynan! His arms are wrapped around the swinging ball. It's impossible for him to reach his hands completely around. That's the point. And he's slipping.
Ugh, he's gonna screw her time.
Good thing this is only practice then. What's the matter, Tynan? You scared of heights?
No.
Who's the liability now?
Stop. I jab my elbow into Ridoc, who's not so lean anymore. The last 7 weeks have put some muscle on him. Just because he's a dick doesn't mean you have to be.
But he's giving me so much material to work with.
I can't.
You can do it!
I can't.
Okay, fine. Rhiannon jumps for the first buoy ball, clasping it up top near where the chains hold it to the iron rail above, and swinging her weight around the side. It's an utterly inspired approach. One that might just work for me.
Ridoc, start. Or is it Ridoc? Start. Ridoc? Ridoc, start.
Yeah.
Rhiannon gets the rope into Tynan's hand, but instead of using it to swing to the next ball, he climbs down, effectively forfeiting. My jaw practically unhinges as he descends. Definitely didn't see that one coming.
Violet, begin.
Okay. Be with me, Zinol. I haven't spent nearly enough time at Temple for the God of Luck to care much about what happens to me right now, but worth a shot. I bolt up the first part of the ascent, coming to the spinning log within seconds. It's just balance. You can balance. Quick feet, quick feet, quick feet. I jump off the end to land on the first of 4 granite columns, each one higher than the last with about 3 feet between them. Okay, I managed to leap from one pillar to the next. And this is the easy part. I jump onto the rotating wheel and run, leaping over the only opening as it flies by once, then watching it come around a second time. Timing. This one's all about timing. The opportunity comes and I seize it, racing through the opening and turning back onto the gravel path of the second ascent. Feathertail dragons are the breed we know least about. I start to recite as I spring from the edge of the path onto the first ball, grasping it up top just like Rhiannon did. Throwing my weight, I force the ball to rotate, swinging me toward the next one. This is because feathertails reportedly abhor violence and are not suitable for bonding. I repeat motions, grasping from one ball to the next, keeping my eyes on the chains and nothing else. I throw myself sideways, releasing the ball, and land on the gravel path without rolling my ankle. Yes! Okay, nice. Green dragons, known for their keen intellect, descend from the honorable one in Lloyd line and continue to be the most rational of dragon kind, making them perfect siege weapons, especially in the case of clubtails.
Are you studying?
Aurelie lands behind me. Yeah, calms me down. There are 3 iron rails in front of me, each lined up like a battering ram toward the next. I launch myself toward the first. At least the texture gives me something to keep hold of as I work my way, hand over hand. Oh gods, I slip. Okay, orange dragons, coming in various shades of apricot to carrot, are the most unpredictable of dragon kind, are therefore always a risk. Descending from... I lose my grip and swing into the mountainside, my cheeks slamming into the rock.
Next to you. The rope is next to you.
Who? Okay. I brace my feet on the knot beneath me, on the rope, and cling tight. Okay, I have to swing over or climb down. Okay. Pushing off the edge, I swing out for the rail and make it. Immediately starting the hand over hand to get me to the next one and then the next, until I finally let go, landing on the first shaking iron pillar. My brain is rattled as the thing shudders violently, and I leap to the next, barely gaining a foothold before jumping to the gravel path at the end of the ascent. Aurelie's right behind me, landing with a grin.
This is the best!
You clearly need to see the healers if you think this is fun. We reach the twisting staircase posts jutting straight from the side of the cliff face. Each 3-foot-wide timber rotates from its base in one of the steepest sections of the course. I quickly calculate that if you fall off one of the posts, you'd probably drop at least 30 or 40 feet onto the rocky terrain below. I focus on the possibility of my agility and that rhyme, and bounce on my feet, dredging up whatever courage I have left. Then, I run. My feet are quick, making contact with each post only long enough to push off to the next. And within a few heartbeats, I'm on the other side! Yes!
Oh, Violet!
I did it!
Here I come!
Her footwork is more agile than mine as she swings from spinning post to post. I jerk my gaze up, just in time to see the underbelly of a green dagger tail as it flies directly over us, headed back to the Vale. I'm never gonna get used to that.
Whoa.
It's pretty amazing, right?
Whoa.
I look back, just in time to see her wobble. The air freezes in my lungs as she careens forward, her belly hitting the next to last spinning log.
Aurelie!
I lunge for her. Our eyes meet, shock and terror filling hers, as the post rolls her away from me, and she falls. Halfway down the cliff.
Calvin Atwater.
He sits 2 rows behind me in battle brief. Sat. There's nothing special about this morning. Our first trial on the Gauntlet has made the death roll longer, but it's just another list on just another day. Except, it's not. The exceptional cruelty of this ritual has never hit me this hard before. It's not like the first day anymore. I know more than half of the names as they're called. My vision blurs.
Newland Javon.
He had breakfast duty with me. How can this be all there is? We say their names once, and then go on as if they never existed. Rhiannon shifts her weight at my side, and she abruptly sniffles, the motion jerking her shoulders once.
Aurelie. Donans.
A single tear escapes, and I wipe it away, and rip open one of the scabs along my cheek. A trickle of blood follows as the next name is called, but I just let it stain me.
You're sure about this?
If Aurelie's parents aren't coming, then I should be the one to handle her things. I'm the last person she saw. Every Bisgayev parent has the same option when their cadet is killed. They can retrieve the body and personal effects for burial or burning, or the school will put their body under a stone and burn their effects themselves. Aurelie's parents have chosen door number 2.
And you don't want me to go with you?
He asks, palming my neck. I shake my head. I know where the burn pit is.
I should have been there.
You couldn't have done anything. She didn't even have time to reach for the rope.
I never got the chance to ask if you made it all the way up.
No. I got caught at the chimney and had to use a rope to get back down. I'm too short to span the distance. But I'll figure something out. I'll have to, right?
All right. Let me know if you need me.
I will. He lets me go. And I exit the dormitory hallway. The weight of Aurelie's pack is staggering. She was strong enough to carry so much over the parapet, and yet she still fell. And I'm somehow still standing. I can't shake the feeling that I'm carrying her with me as I climb the stairs of the academic tower's turret, past the battle brief room and up to the stone roof, going by a few other cadets on their way down. The burn pit is nothing more than an extra-wide iron barrel, whose only purpose is to incinerate, and the flames burn bright against the night sky as I stumble out onto the roof. A couple of months ago, I couldn't have carried a pack this heavy. There's no one else up here as I slip the bag from my shoulder. My fingers dig into the wide strap of the pack as I fling it up and over the metal edge of the bin. The flames catch as it becomes more fuel for the fire. Just another tribute to Malik, the god of death. I'm so sorry, I whisper. Instead of walking back down the stairs, I make my way to the edge of the turret. It's a cloudy night, but I can make out the shadows of 3 dragons as they approach from the west, and even see the ridge where the Gauntlet lays, waiting to claim its next victim. It won't be me. But why? Because I'll conquer it? Or because I'll give in to Dain's request to go to the Scribe Quadrant? My entire being repels against the second option, which makes me question everything as I stand here. Markham or Emetterio? Scribe or Rider? I climb back down the stairs without a solid answer. I walk through the courtyard and past that bench where Dain and I sat after Parapet. I've come a really long way since then. Doesn't that mean something? Isn't there a chance, no matter how small, that I might survive Threshing? That I might belong here? A door opens along the courtyard wall. I step into the shadows and let darkness conceal me as Bodhi, Garrick, and Xaden pass under a mage light, headed in my direction. I saw 3 dragons. So they were out. Doing what?
There has to be something more we can do. We're doing everything we can.
My scalp prickles, and Xaden stops mid-step. Shit. He knows I'm here.
What's wrong?
Go on. I'll meet you inside.
You sure?
Go.
Only when they're gone does he turn and face the exact spot where I'm sitting. I know that you know that I'm here, so please don't prattle on about commanding the dark. He folds his arms across his chest and studies me in the moonlight.
No questions about where I've been?
I honestly don't care.
You really don't, do you?
Nope. It's not like I'm not out after curfew myself.
What are you doing out after curfew, first year?
Oh, I'm debating running away. How about you? Feel like sharing?
The same.
Look, are you gonna kill me or not? The anticipation is starting to annoy the fuck out of me.
Haven't decided yet.
Well, could you? It would really help make my plans for the week.
Am I affecting your schedule? Violence?
I just want to know my chances. Not with you. I mean, technically, well, chances at surviving, yeah, because you want to kill me, but also, fuck this, I'm going to bed. I go to move past him, but he catches my wrist. His fingertips on my pulse make it skitter.
Chances at what?
Nothing.
Chances at what? Do not make me ask 3 times.
At living through all this. I can't make it up the damn gauntlet.
I see.
No, you don't. You're probably celebrating because I'll fall to my death and you won't have to go through the trouble of killing me.
Killing you wouldn't be any trouble, Violet. It's leaving you alive that seems to cause the majority of my trouble.
Well, sorry to be a hassle. His face is unreadable. Cloaked in shadow, go figure. You know what the problem is with this place? I tug my wrist away, but he holds fast. The problem other than you touching things that don't belong to you?
I'm sure you're gonna tell me.
His thumb brushes my pulse. And he releases my wrist. I answer before I can think better of it. Hope.
Hope?
Hope. I knew coming here was a death sentence. When General Sorrengail gives an order, you can't exactly say no.
Sure you can. You just might not like the consequences.
I knew what the chances were, but I came anyway. And then I make it for almost 2 whole months. And I get hopeful.
And then you lose a squad mate. and you can't quite get up the chimney and you give up. I'm starting to see. It's not a flattering picture, but if you want to run off to the Scribe Quadrant...
How do you know about that?
I know everything that goes on here. Shadows, remember?
Darkness swirls around us, and the rest of the world fades away.
They hear everything, see everything, conceal everything.
My mother would definitely reward you if you told her about Dain's plan to sneak me out.
She'd definitely reward you for telling her about my little... what did you call it? Club.
Well, I'm not gonna tell her.
I know. That's why you're still alive.
So, what am I supposed to do? Just plan for death?
You're supposed to focus on the things that can kill you, so you can find ways to not die. I can barely count the number of people in this quadrant who want you dead, either as revenge against your mother or because you're just really good at pissing people off. But you're still here, defying the odds. It's been rather surprising to watch, actually.
Happy to be your entertainment.
People die. It's going to happen over and over again. It's the nature of what happens here.
Why haven't you killed me?
Because you're the scale I currently judge myself against every night. Every day I let you live, I get to convince myself that there's still a part of me that's a decent person. So if you want to quit, then please spare me the temptation and fucking quit. But if you want to do something, then do it.
I'm too short to span the distance.
The right way isn't the only way. Figure it out.